The cameras flashed, the crowd froze. And just like that, Hollywood had a new obsession.
Yeah, and it's an obsession that comes with a massive, massive cost.
Welcome to Starscope Report. Join Jordan and Jamie as they uncover Hollywood drama, music industry shakeups, and viral influencer scandals. From red carpet surprises to social media controversies, we dive deep into the stories behind the fame.
And we have a lot to unpack today.
We really do. Because today's custom-tailored deep dive is all about you, the listener, and taking you behind the headlines. We're looking at a huge stack of sources today.
Right, like Us Weekly, TMZ.
Yeah, and the Economic Times, Indulge Express, just a really wide range. And our mission is to explore the hidden realities of celebrity relationships. You know, the intense weight of the public eye.
Because the modern media landscape has it's completely changed how fame it demands total access to a public figure's life.
Which brings us to the big headline dropping today. This is the one that really anchors this whole discussion. So, just 2 months after their sudden split, Pete Davidson and actress Elsie Hewitt have reached a formal, joint co-parenting agreement.
Wow.
Yeah, for their 7-month-old daughter, Scottie Rose. So, okay, let's unpack this because we aren't just looking at tabloid gossip here. We are analyzing the psychological toll of trauma.
Right, and the vastly different ways stars choose to hide or, share their romances.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And the extreme consequences of public backlash.
Yeah, because to really understand what happened between Pete and Elsie, we kind of have to map out the timeline.
It was so fast.
The sheer velocity is staggering. I mean, they started dating in March of 2025, right? They were spotted vacationing in Palm Beach.
Just a normal new couple trip.
Right. But by May of 2025, which is just 2 months later, they were already moving in together. They were trying out homes in Brooklyn and upstate New York.
That is warp speed.
It is. And then in July of 2025, Elsie announced her pregnancy.
And she announced it in a very, hyper-public way.
Yeah.
She posted this ultrasound video on Instagram, and it had this cheeky caption. It said, quote, "Well, now everyone knows we had sex."
Yeah, I remember that.
It was just so fast, and they were inviting the public right into the center of it,
They absolutely were. And the joyous arrival happened on December 12, 2025, with the birth of Scottie Rose.
Which is such a sweet name.
It really is. Elsie called the baby her best work yet, while Pete just responded in classic Pete fashion, saying, "Wu-Tang forever!"
Naturally.
Right. But there's a profoundly poignant detail here that I think acts as the key to understanding this entire dynamic. The baby is named Scottie after Pete's late father, Scott Davidson.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, he was a firefighter who tragically died responding to the September 11 attacks.
That detail is so crucial to this whole thing.
Yeah.
Pete actually told People magazine around that time that having a daughter made him feel, quote, primal.
Primal, that's a strong word.
Yeah. And highly protective. He had these raw caveman instincts to fight anyone who even looked at his baby wrong. But then, just 5 months after Scottie's birth, the relationship dissolved completely.
Yeah.
And the public narrative immediately turned vicious.
It really did. The fracture became incredibly visible when Elsie posted that viral TikTok.
Right.
She appeared exhausted, and she was talking about how she was raising a baby, quote, on my own and trying to work to make money.
And the internet they instantly took that 15-second clip and extrapolated this entire moral failing. They cast Pete as the deadbeat dad who abandoned his family.
Oh, completely.
Which is such a dangerous way we consume media. I looked into the sources, and the reality completely contradicts that narrative.
Well, yeah. Insiders quickly clarified that her on my own comment was about her specific time alone in the house with the baby.
Right, it wasn't about a complete abandonment by Pete. In fact, sources confirmed Pete was shouldering all the financial costs. Her rent, her health insurance, the baby's needs.
It was covering everything.
Yeah, and he was very present. It's like building a house while a hurricane is already hitting. The foundation of a 5-month relationship just didn't have time to set before the ultimate stress test of a newborn arrived.
That is so true.
And this all eventually led to their July 31st, 2026 joint co-parenting agreement, where both formally stated that Scottie's well-being is their absolute top priority.
And what's fascinating here is that gap between the public narrative and the private reality. Because according to deep dives from Perez Hilton's sources, Pete's inner circle believes the core issue wasn't a lack of love at all.
What was it then?
It was the psychological mechanics of unresolved grief. His friends believe he never fully recovered from the trauma of losing his dad in 9/11.
Wait, I have to stop you there, because that seems entirely contradictory to me.
How so?
Well, he clearly wanted a family, right? He named his daughter after his dad. If he was actively seeking out a stable family unit to, replace what he lost, why would he suddenly pull the ripcord when he finally got it?
I mean, it sounds contradictory until you look at how childhood trauma actually wires the brain.
Okay.
When you experience a loss that catastrophic at a young age, your brain's threat detection center, the amygdala, it gets locked in a state of hypervigilance.
So you're always waiting for the other shoe to drop.
Exactly. You become accustomed to chaos and emotional turbulence. So the psychological trap here is the sabotage cycle.
Oh, I see where you're going with this.
Right. The very moment his relationship with Elsie stopped being an exciting whirlwind and became real, permanent domesticity, it triggered his deep-seated fear of abandonment.
I think I get it. It's like someone who has only ever driven on a terrifying, icy mountain road.
Yeah.
And when you finally put them on a perfectly smooth, straight, sunny highway, they panic. They start jerking the steering wheel because they think the silence means the engine is about to explode.
That is the perfect analogy. His brain literally perceives domestic peace as a threat environment. It tells him this is permanent, which means it will destroy you when it inevitably leaves.
Wow.
So to regain a feeling of control over what he perceives as an inevitable loss, he instinctively retreated emotionally.
And he started burying himself in work.
Exactly. Doing stand-up shows, throwing yourself into prepping for his intense new role as a mob killer in that upcoming crime thriller, Tommy Karate.
Because work is a controlled environment. You memorize the script, you hit your marks, you go home. A newborn baby is the exact definition of unpredictable.
It really is.
But looking at the mechanics of this, you really have to empathize with Elsie too. She was left carrying the full mental load of motherhood.
Oh, absolutely.
She felt completely isolated dealing with the exhausting day-to-day reality of an infant, while Pete was out trying to secure the perimeter. He was actually selling off his properties, his Staten Island condo and his upstate home, to sort out their financial next steps.
It's just a tragedy of misaligned coping mechanisms.
Huh?
He is out liquidating assets because financial security feels like a tangible way to protect his family.
But what she actually needed was a partner in the living room holding the baby.
Right. He sabotaged the very stability he spent his life searching for because the peace just felt too terrifying.
It is incredibly heartbreaking. And, later in the episode, we'll talk about the shocking twist nobody saw coming with how the public reacts to this kind of trauma.
Yeah, you definitely want to stick around for that.
But looking at how quickly Pete and Elsie's relationship was consumed and dissected by the public, here's where it gets really interesting. Because I've been thinking about this, and it feels like we're watching a massive generational shift in Hollywood right now.
Oh, for sure.
If Pete and Elsie represent the hyper-public, emotionally explosive model, the cast of Spider-Man, Brand New Day represents the exact opposite.
Oh, they are completely different.
They're delivering a masterclass in fierce, aggressive privacy.
They really are. They are actively rejecting the old Hollywood model of feeding the tabloids. Let's look at how Zendaya and Tom Holland operate.
The ultimate power couple.
Right, but they just appear at the London premiere of the new Spider-Man film. And Zendaya was in this incredible Tamara Ralph champagne silk crepe gown with these spider-webby straps.
Stunning. And Tom was in that wine-colored suit with the crystallized spider brooch.
Exactly. It was peak glamour, but the actual mechanics of their PR strategy, built like a fortress.
Yeah.
They quietly married in secret. No magazine spread, no media circus.
Which raises the question of how you actually hide a high-profile marriage in the digital age. I mean, you don't do it by accident.
No, it takes work.
It requires ironclad NDAs, private properties, banning cell phones. You have to keep the locus of control entirely internal.
Right. And when they do press junkets, their strategy is essentially deflection through normalization.
What do you mean?
Well, when Zendaya was asked at the premiere about working with Tom, she just gave this incredibly understated one-line reply. She said, "When you're best friends, it's pretty easy."
That is a highly calculated move.
It is.
By keeping their answers deliberately simple and devoid of high drama, they just starve the tabloids of conflict or passion. There is no wild headline to extract from "we are best friends."
Exactly. And Tom Holland takes it a step further. He purposely refused to walk the red carpet right next to her.
Really?
Yeah. His stated reasoning was, because it's not my moment, it's her moment, and if we go together, it's about us.
While that sounds incredibly sweet, it's also a brilliant diversion tactic.
Oh, totally.
He intentionally stepped back to prevent the media from crafting a joint narrative about their relationship instead of focusing on the film. He is acting as a media shield for her.
And they aren't the only ones in that cast employing this strategy. Co-star Jacob Batalon.
Who plays Med?
Right. He casually dropped during the press tour that he had secretly married his partner, interior designer Veronica Lehoff.
Just casually.
Yeah. He just started referring to her as his wife in interviews and sporting a gold band.
That strategy is fascinating. It's the deprivation of an announcement.
Right.
By just quietly shifting reality and casually dropping the word wife, he deprived the media ecosystem of an engagement post, a wedding countdown, an exclusive photo drop to monetize.
He took all the oxygen out of the story before the press even knew there was a story.
Are we seeing a generational shift in Hollywood? Are younger stars actively rejecting the public relationship model because they've seen how it destroys couples like Pete and Elsie?
It perfectly validates that point. This younger cohort of stars has grown up entirely in the digital age. They understand the currency of access.
Yeah, they really do.
They know that once you invite the public into your living room, whether through an ultrasound post or a wedding spread, you surrender the deed to your private life. You can never get them out again.
And if you're loving these Hollywood twists, make sure you're subscribed, because we've got even crazier stories ahead. It just shows that when you lose control of that access, the public doesn't just consume your romances, they consume your real-life tragedies as content.
And that is the darkest part of this.
It brings us to the ongoing, frankly disturbing discourse around the television show Glee. If we connect this to the bigger picture, it's wild.
This is a textbook example of the sociology of parasocial relationships. Recently, creator Ryan Murphy mentioned the possibility of rebooting Glee,
Which people have wanted for a while.
mostly because a whole new generation has discovered the show on streaming platforms. But that offhand comment instantly reignited these viral fan theories about the so-called Glee curse.
They are referring to the tragic, real-life deaths of cast members Corey Monteith, Mark Salling, and Naya Rivera.
Right.
The internet just started churning out thousands of videos and posts, treating these real human beings as if they were characters in a horror movie who were magically sacrificed to a television show.
It is the ultimate commodification of grief.
It really is.
We have to look at why fans do this. Psychologically, humans are terrified of senseless tragedy.
Naturally.
If 3 young actors die because of random, complex personal struggles or sheer accidents, it means tragedy is random. It means it can strike anyone at any time.
Which is a terrifying thought.
Right. But if fans invent a curse tied to a specific TV show, they contain that tragedy in a neat, fictionalized box.
Wow.
It's a defense mechanism that distances the audience from reality, but in doing so, it completely strips the actual victims of their humanity.
And former Glee star Kevin McCare, who played Artie, saw exactly what was happening and was absolutely outraged.
As he should be.
He took to social media and passionately slammed these fans. He called turning real people into a TV mythology, quote, "ficking diabolical and untethered from any sort of humanity."
It's so well said.
These were his actual friends who died in horrific ways.
Yeah.
An overdose, a suicide, a drowning. And the public is treating their deaths like an Easter egg in a fandom. It really highlights how the spotlight weaponizes real life.
The public backlash isn't just limited to how fans process grief, though. It also extends to how society handles intense social and political scrutiny.
Right. Which brings us to another extreme of public scrutiny, the sheer mechanics of cancellation. Looking at comedian Veer Das, and I want to explicitly state to you, the listener, right now we are not taking political sides here.
Not at all.
We are simply reporting the facts of the source material impartially. We're looking at this strictly as an anatomy of a public cancellation, divorced entirely from the politics of it.
Exactly.
But the sheer mechanics of his fallout are staggering. In 2021, Veer Das performed a satirical monologue at the Kennedy Center titled Two Indias, which addressed pressing social issues and women's safety.
And the viral backlash was instantaneous.
It really was.
But it wasn't just angry tweets, it was a domino effect of systemic collapse. The sources detail the exact sequence of this fallout. It started with 14 police complaints filed against him in India.
Which instantly creates a legal liability. Corporate brands have strict morality and liability clauses.
Always.
So the moment those police complaints were filed, brands immediately suspended his contracts to avoid secondary boycotts. Every single brand deal vanished overnight.
And it didn't stop there. All of his acting and directing jobs evaporated.
It's a production insurance, right?
Exactly. Production insurance becomes impossible or financially ruinous to secure when a key figure is a legal or social liability. He went from being a highly successful comedian to entirely unemployable.
That is wild.
For 2.5 years, he said nobody would touch him with a 10-foot pole.
The financial strain was so absolute that he and his wife, Shivani, had to relocate away from the spotlight to Goa just to lower their cost of living while the heat died down.
They literally had zero income for 2 years.
Wow.
He even revealed recently that he is reportedly still banned from entering the state of Madhya Pradesh.
He essentially became a radioactive figure. But what is so compelling is the psychological framework he used to eventually navigate out of it.
Right.
He didn't apologize for his art, but he did recognize the need to build an impenetrable boundary between his public persona and his private self.
Yeah, he had this really resilient philosophy.
He recently offered this brilliant piece of philosophy on surviving the public eye. He said, your content can become controversial, but controversy can't become your content.
That distinction is the key to surviving fame. It means you cannot let the public's reaction to you become your actual identity.
Exactly. You have to separate the art you make from the storm it creates.
Celebrities have to build this incredibly thick armor against the public reaction, whether that reaction is a morbid fascination with your friends' deaths, like with the Glee cast, or intense social outrage, like with Veer Das.
It requires a psychological barrier that most regular people never have to develop. You have to go out and perform for millions of people while simultaneously protecting your core self from being shattered by their opinions.
Which is, it's a huge burden.
It really is. And this psychological barrier we're talking about, actors physically manifest it all the time. Just a brief cinematic nod here. Look at Vivek Oberoi in the new trailer for Nitesh Tiwari's upcoming Ramayana.
Oh, yeah.
He is completely transformed into the character Vidyu Chiva. He is wearing this heavy, ornate armor, thick facial hair. He's totally unrecognizable.
It is the ultimate visual metaphor for this entire deep dive.
Actors, literally and figuratively, put on heavy armor, don a costume, and step out to face the public.
And they have to keep that armor on, because underneath that heavy metal, there is still just a vulnerable human being.
Right.
And if that armor cracks, or if they take it off entirely, like Pete Davidson trying to just be a raw, vulnerable dad in a new relationship, the public is waiting right there to consume them.
So what does this all mean? We've looked at a massive spectrum of sources today, and they all point to the intense currency of access in modern fame.
Yep.
On one hand, you have the raw vulnerability of Pete Davidson, where unresolved childhood trauma and hypervigilance violently collided with the pressures of parenthood, ending in a co-parenting agreement rather than the family he desperately wanted.
And on the other hand, you have the Spider-Man newlyweds Zendaya and Tom, Jacob, and Veronica, who are surviving by building impenetrable fortresses of secrecy around their private lives.
And then you have the crushing toll the public eye takes when that access is weaponized against you. You see it in the fans who try to commodify the real-life tragedies of the Glee cast into a digestible mythology.
Yeah.
And you see it in the systemic financial cancellation of Veer Das, who literally lost his livelihood for 2 years because of a satirical monologue. It paints a picture of a media ecosystem that demands everything but forgives very little.
And that leaves us with a final thought for you to ponder long after this audio stops.
Oh, I like where this is going.
We constantly demand that celebrities share their authentic selves with us. We beg for the behind-the-scenes access, the raw emotions, the real them.
Right.
But looking at how Pete Davidson's genuine grief or Veer Das's earnest social commentary were immediately consumed, twisted, and weaponized by the public, we have to ask ourselves, do we actually want their authenticity? Or do we just want a storyline we can easily digest?
That is such a provocative thought. Are we looking for complex humans, or are we just demanding entertaining characters?
Yeah.
You've been listening to Starscope Report, where Jordan and Jamie uncover the stories shaping Hollywood, music, and pop culture.
Thanks for tuning in. And don't forget to subscribe for more stories that keep the stars shining.
Stay tuned and hit that subscribe button so you don't miss what's coming next. Keep asking those hard questions, and above all, stay insanely curious.